Have you ever really, stopped to look at your own progress? I mean, really look. Not just the big stuff, but the day-to-day grind, the small wins, the curveballs,
Right.
how you actually deal with it all. It's pretty fascinating when you chart it out, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And yeah, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We've got this really unique source material. It's a super detailed personal week in review, dated July 27th, 2025, week 30. And it's titled Life's Progress, Health, Hobbies, and Home Improvement.
Right. And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to pull out those actionable bits, those little nuggets of wisdom that are kind of hidden in this very personal tracking. We're going to explore, the reality of keeping habits going, setting big goals, and maybe those surprising things that just pop up for this person.
Yeah, it's like a raw look at a structured approach to getting better health, mind, home stuff, lad bear. And I think there's some universal truths in there for all of us.
Definitely. So, okay, let's kick things off where a lot of these journeys start health habits.
Oh.
This person's big goal for their health, it's simple, but kind of deep, actually. Build a foundation so they can, pursue everything else actively, feel good,
Mm.
improve quality of life long term.
hmm And they track that with some really specific metrics. Sleep, for example. Goal was 7 hours a day. They averaged 7.12 hours. Sounds pretty good on paper, right?
Yeah, sounds like they nailed it.
But here's the interesting part. The range.
Yeah.
In that 1 week, it went from just 2 hours one night.
2 hours, wow.
Yeah. All the way up to 9 hours on another night.
That is a huge swing. And didn't they mention something about fragmented sleep, too? Even on the longer nights?
Exactly. They noted fragmented sleep.
Yeah.
So it highlights this real need for more consistent quality rest,
Yeah.
not just hitting a number of hours.
Right. So just tracking the hours isn't the full picture, is it? Are
Right.
we often missing that nuance when we track our own stuff?
I think we often do, yeah. This really shows sleep isn't just about the quantity. You can hit your average, sure.
Yeah.
But if it's broken up or just not consistent, you don't get the same restorative benefits. It's a really good reminder that the quality often counts just as much as the quantity. For any health metric, really.
That's a great point. And that kind of inconsistency, well, it probably affects other things too, like activity levels. So walking steps. Their daily goal was 5,600.
And they actually averaged about 6,142. So
Yeah.
pretty good, often beating the goal.
Nice.
But again, you see that variability. Some days just under 4,000 steps, one day almost 7,700.
Oh, okay.
Now here's where it gets really interesting and practical. They actually found this out.
Yeah.
Doing house chores like sweeping the floor really did improve the overall steps over the week.
No way. So just sweep it. That became like a fitness hack for them.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. A real unexpected discovery.
That's brilliant. And they actually recommend adding it to your routine. Who knew tidying up could double as a workout?
It's a fantastic insight, isn't it? Really practical. It shows what we sometimes call activity creep, those little movements all day.
Right. Incidental stuff.
Exactly. When you track it, you see it can really add up.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that, yeah, every little bit helps, even if it doesn't feel like a proper workout.
Such a clever way to weave it in. Okay, so moving on to diet. They were shifting away from 16.8 intermittent fasting.
Right. The 16 hours fasting, 8-hour eating window, moving back to more regular meals.
And their weight, it stayed pretty stable, didn't it? Averaging around 67.15 kilograms.
Yeah, remarkably stable. The standard deviation was only about 0.35 kilograms.
Which means?
It means despite tiny daily fluctuations, which are totally normal, their weight hovered really consistently around that average. Even while changing their eating pattern, it suggests their body was, handling the transition pretty well.
Interesting. Stability, even during change.
Yeah, sometimes consistency isn't a flat line. It's more like predictable changes around a stable point.
Gotcha. So what about what they were eating? The goal ratio was 2.1.1. Plants, protein, carbs.
That was the goal, yeah. 2 parts plants, 1 part protein, 1 part carbs. But reality, especially when eating out, it often looked more like 1.1.2 or maybe 1.2.2. So more carbs or protein heavy than planned.
Happens easily, right?
Totally. And they mentioned preferring warm soupy foods. But here's another really specific observation they made about ginger powder.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
They found that a higher portion seemed to increase their hunger the next day.
Huh. Even though ginger's usually seen as good for digestion and stuff.
Exactly. They noted it helped with digestion and well-being, but yeah, this counterintuitive hunger effect.
Wow, that is incredibly specific. What does a finding like that tell us about how personal this all is?
It just screams personalization, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even something generally seen as healthy can have these, like, subtle, unexpected effects on an individual. This kind of super detailed tracking lets you move past the generic advice and figure out what really works for your body.
That's fascinating. Okay, and last bit on health workouts. They were doing gardening, light walks after meals, house chores,
Right, those activity creep things we talked about?
but they mentioned struggling with building a habit of daily push-ups.
Ah, yes, the push-up struggle. So relatable.
Totally.
It really highlights that difference between wanting to do something and actually, doing it. The intention versus the implementation.
Yeah.
We often aim for the big workout, but maybe consistency is easier to find in those smaller integrated moments. Finding the path of, like, least resistance for regular movement.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've seen this really meticulous approach to physical health. But self-improvement, it's not just the body, is it? It goes inward to the mind and outward to our space. Let's look at how they tackled mental clarity and keeping the house in order.
Right. So mental well-being was clearly a focus. The goal, exercise your mind, primarily through meditation. They had this progression of 3 steps of sitting meditation, usually just for a minute or so.
Just a minute. Okay.
Yeah, but what's interesting is the question they ask themselves. What will happen if we meditate 20 minutes each day for 1 month? How would that impact our mental and physical wellness?
Ah, so they're thinking about scaling it up, recognizing a minute is a start, but maybe more benefit comes with more time.
Exactly. Shows that curiosity.
Yeah.
And they were clever about it too, doing walking meditation, often mixing it into daily stuff like raking leaves or chores.
Habit stacking, yeah, smart.
And they noted their mental state was stoic as usual and notably relaxed over the week, just by, mentally noticing thoughts and feelings as they came up.
Nice. Okay, and then the kitchen, cooking. For them, it wasn't just about food, right? It was framed as taking control.
Yeah, control of our consumption, manage it ourselves
Yeah.
rather than relying on others, and learn new skill. That was the idea.
And the learning goal, getting faster with veggies.
Pretty much, preparing them in the fast and effective manner, like making regular miso soup with veggies, prawns, tofu, maybe some beans and noodles thrown in. Simple, efficient.
Makes sense. And eggs, too.
Yep, working on different egg recipes, mostly hard-boiled eggs, 1 or 2 a day, just mastering those basics, building that self-sufficiency.
And that idea of self-reliance, it seems to connect to their decluttering goal, too, right? Aiming for a minimalist lifestyle.
Definitely. And they had that really clever daily habit for it.
Oh, yeah, the on the way to the kitchen thing.
That's the one. On the way to the kitchen, clear 1 item from any areas within the house.
I love that. It's so simple but consistent, like the sweeping for steps thing, Clear one thing a day. And they noted the house just slowly gets cleaner, low effort, big impact over time.
It's a great strategy, though they did admit, very relatably,
Uh-oh. What didn't get done?
progress stalled on replacing some curtains and dealing with a neglected drawer.
Huh. We all have those spots, don't we? The things that just seem to resist the one-a-day magic.
Absolutely. Those often represent maybe a bigger mental hurdle or just feel like more effort. It's common, right? Small wins build momentum, but some tasks need a bit more of a push or maybe breaking them down even more.
Totally get that. Okay, so from body and home, let's shift to knowledge and creation. Reading, coding, writing. What was happening there?
Okay, reading goals. Improve my writing, consume wisely, and boost my mental health. Pretty solid aims. They mentioned a specific book, something about controlling blood pressure, sugar, lipids.
Right, the 3 highs control guide?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But they noted still nothing on this yet.
The ambitious book that stays on the shelf. Know that feeling.
Don't we all? It's that classic intention-action gap again, isn't it? Good intentions, but maybe that book felt like more work than skimming lighter stuff.
So what were they reading?
They did have a consistent habit,
Right.
5 to 10 minutes each day to browsing a variety of books, mostly skimming fiction and gardening titles.
So still engaging, just maybe not the deep dive they planned for that specific health book, which is fine, right? It's still reading.
Exactly. Progress takes different forms. Now, coding. Goals were about enjoying building things, learning, and contributing back to open source communities. Floss.
Free Libre open source software, yeah. And they aimed for daily contributions, PRs, pull requests.
That was the aim. Daily PRs to projects in Go, Python, Elixir, Erlang, or Rust, they call it GPR, or other relevant projects. But they hit a snag.
What was the challenge?
They admitted, even though not daily as I would, as I can't seem to find interesting projects these days.
Ah, the inspiration problem.
Yeah.
Happens with passion projects.
For sure, you can't really force that creative spark sometimes. But they adapted, which is key.
How so?
Instead of big contributions, they were still hopping through GitHub repositories, addressing trivial typos across various projects that have piqued my interest.
Okay, so small fixes, but still contributing.
Yeah. And they also worked on their own recreation pet projects, doing maintenance like fixing broken tests, improving test coverage. It's still learning, still contributing, just maybe less glamorous. It shows how you can adapt and stay engaged, even if the original big idea isn't quite happening.
That's a really good example of adapting. Okay, and lastly in this section, writing and documentation. Purpose was communication, conveying thoughts, documenting progress.
Right, to communicate and convey my thoughts more effectively and document my progress and discoveries. Their publishing goal was ambitious. Publish 2 posts per day and read back old posts.
2 a day. Wow, what were they writing about?
Mostly seemed to be gardening and dieting, personal reflections, progress updates.
Okay, and they had another writing goal too, about tech stuff.
Yeah, they wanted to blog about interesting PR or libraries on Go, Python, Elixir, Erlang, or Rust, GPR. But again, the note was nothing on this yet.
Seems like the technical writing was maybe a heavier lift than the personal stuff.
Seems likely. Maybe needed more research, more cognitive effort. Just shows different kinds of creation have different demands, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's move into the final area, nurturing life and creativity. Beyond all the structured self-improvement, this person clearly made space for hobbies, for connection, fish, plants, photography. What did the review say here?
Okay, fish keeping. It was framed simply as the joy of fish keeping and breeding. There was mention of a yellow-blue rack project with no progress.
Another stalled project.
Happens. But there was new progress. They bought 2 pairs of duppies, red-tail varieties, and introduced them to another outdoor pond filled with gouramis.
Oh, cool. So actively expanding their little fish world.
Exactly. A concrete step forward in the hobby. Then gardening, which they saw as a way to improve your health, connect with nature, and learn new skills.
Multi-purpose hobby, what were they doing?
Working on transplanting some Terrania seedlings into bigger pots, keeping an eye on them. A planned new seeds germination project hadn't started yet, though.
Okay.
And there was the ongoing effort of setting up 4 new gardening workspaces. But the grouting work needed for one on the balcony got sidetracked.
Yeah. Distracted by what?
The note just says other indulgences instead.
Huh. So relatable. Best intentions, but then life happens. Or maybe just something more fun comes along.
Pretty much. It's that classic thing, competing priorities, the pull of easier or more immediately gratifying activities. Just shows you need to manage distractions, not just make plans.
True. And finally, photography.
Yeah, goals there were about capturing memories and exploring creativity through stories. The specific task mentioned was finding the best macro lens for your mobile phone. But like a few other things, the note was still nothing on this yet.
Okay, so another one for the to-do list. What an incredible level of detail across their whole week, though.
It really is.
So if we kind of zoom out now and think about the big takeaways from this whole week in review, I mean, the main lesson seems crystal clear, doesn't it? Personal progress, it's just not a straight line.
Not at all. It's messy. It's this dynamic thing, right? Setting big goals, trying to be consistent, but then having to adapt when things get tough, or finding those weird efficiencies like this sweeping, boosting your step count.
Exactly. And that kind of really detailed tracking, this week in review, it just shows how valuable it is. You uncover these insights, you see what's really happening with your habits, not just what you think is happening.
Right. It moves you past wishful thinking to observed reality. And that lets you make changes that are actually based on your own personal data, informed adjustments.
So for everyone listening, what does this all mean for you? This person's review, it's not just their story, it's kind of a template, right, for self-discovery.
Definitely.
So here's something to think about. How might just consistently watching and noting your own daily habits, even the boring, mundane stuff, how might that show you some unexpected paths? Or maybe hidden boosts towards those bigger things you're aiming for long term?
Yeah, what connections might you find in your own life if you really took a deep dive into your week like this? What surprising things might pop up?